You guys ready?
Yep. To those tuning in, we say hello. This is Hot Mic on the Line. Hot Mic is a 1-hour show directed to support those in corrections, any other law enforcement, to include their families. Hot Mic is real talk, and we are live, so kick off your heels, grab yourself a drink, and stand by. Remember, although hosts and guests may speak of certain subjects about their line, this show does not represent any department in any way. Warning, this show contains explicit content that may not be suitable for the easily offended, the faint-hearted, the intolerant of bad words, and gross humor, the individuals who are looking upset, and the triggered. If you believe that you are about to listen to the material that you may find objectionable, offensive, distasteful, or unpleasant, tune out now.
Welcome to tonight's special edition of Hot Mic Girl Power. With me, I have Miss Summer from episode 18, Miss Lydda, episode 7, and I'm Heather from episode 6.
And now we're going to talk about the WOT, the word on the tier. So for those of you listening and have been faithful listeners, just last week, May 17th, was the 1-year anniversary for Hot Mic on the Line. So happy birthday, Hot Mic on the Line. And we're going to have a little birthday toast.
Cheers.
Happy
Cheers. Happy birthday, Hot
Happy
Mic.
All right. And the other announcement we have is that next week on Monday, on Memorial Day, on Memorial Day at 5 p.m., they're going to be having a raffle for a Westito AR-15 live on Hot Mic. So be sure to tune in at 5 p.m. on Memorial Day.
So ladies, since your episodes, what have you guys been up to?
I have been working, I work at the gym, for those of you guys that don't know. Manager right there in Imperial, and we are getting ready to open the second location at the Imperial Valley Mall, which opens June 1st. So been busy just hiring, training, getting people in the door, and getting that second location ready to go. Super busy, but it's a blessing, so it's happening soon.
It's a good thing COVID's over with.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Me, just working, and with my Make-A-Wish stuff, we just had our biggest fundraiser of the year called Trailblaze Challenge. It was up in Big Bear. It's a 28-mile hike in one day. So that was this last Saturday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't make it 28 miles. So I tried my best, but the night before they fed us and a bunch of people got food poisoning. So about 10 miles in, I had to tap out. Couldn't take the food poisoning anymore. So, but I raised over $2,500.
That's awesome.
So
Awesome.
that was good, and there's always next year.
Yeah, you know what? The fact that you even attempted having food poisoning,
Yes,
I would have been like, I'm good, you guys. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Definitely.
It's hot. It's swim season. That's what I've been up to. Swimming, different teams, different children. It makes my heart happy. So I like giving back. Someone paid it forward to me and showed me the just amazing blessings that swimming can bring. And so to me, I want to instill that just in everybody. So from 2 years old to adults, if there's a pool, I'm going to teach someone just because it makes me happy.
So is it all volunteer? Your
Some of
teaching?
it, yes. Some of it is volunteer. Some of it I get paid for. But either way, if you coach, you don't coach because you make money from it.
Definitely.
Everything that I make, it goes back into my teams, whether it's in Holtville or it's in El Centro or wherever it is, because I just feel very passionate about it. I want these kids to understand the importance of athleticism and teamwork and not giving up and just having pride in what you do. And they say, Coach Heather's crazy, but I have a huge number of athletes who come back who are in the military, who have careers. I have actually a challenge with my swimmers who go into the military, who has the best shirt. So I have tons of different shirts: Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, and right now my favorite is from the Army. But just because it's badass. But they know okay, if I go, I have to get her. I have to one up. And my one before that was a baseball. Proud coach of a Marine, and it was a baseball one that was all pink and stuff. So it was cool. I just like it, and I think it brings a little bit of fun, letting them know, hey, I'm going to support you whether you're on deck with me or once you've left. I'm going to support you.
Yeah, no, I get it with my wish granting. We do it all here in this community, and it's so small that we keep in contact with most of our families. So through social media or in person, I got to know a lot of the families, and still see the kids grow up. My first wish kid now, he's 18, so he's a man, so he's not a kid no more.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So after your episode, did you go home? Were you like, hey babe, let's talk about it? Or were you like,
No.
let's not talk about it?
No. I went home. I had expressed that the episode was very therapeutic for me. I mean, I just felt like there was so much that I needed to talk about, but I don't have anyone to talk about it with. So being in here with the guys and just like letting it all out and like whatever I had to say, there was no rules, there was no barriers, there was no nothing. I went home and I thought like I was gonna get in trouble. But no, we didn't talk about anything. So it was just kind of like, okay, I'm home and I'm going to bed, and we went to bed, and that was it. So no, we didn't talk about anything, but I loved it. I had tons of positive feedback from it. I had so many women that reached out to me. There was even a few men that reached out to me that are married to, female officers, and that they were just like so glad that they weren't alone, that they weren't the only ones that like felt like shut out, or like, nobody talked to them, nobody expressed how their day was or what's going on, or like, why am I getting shut out? Why is there, like these barriers up where we can't talk about it, or like there's no, kind of like, I don't know what the term is, but just like affection was a lot of what I talked about, how I love to be affectionate, and I loved, cariño, and like cuddle me and this and that, and it's just like, oh, give me my space. So knowing that I wasn't the only one experiencing that made me feel good, but it also felt like other men and women like feel good, like, okay, it's not just my husband or wife that is going through that. So yeah, but we didn't talk about it.
So by you being on the show, it didn't get him to open up more?
We have been working on just our relationship in general. I think the show itself, nothing really happened after it. Nothing really, like it didn't seem to like change anything. But like,
Sorry, guys.
lately, like in the past couple weeks, it's just been, things have been getting better. We've been working on us. I mean, we've been going to baseball games. Luna's been spoiling me with that, and then taking the kids out more, especially. I mean, during COVID, I think like a lot of us suffered in many ways because we couldn't do anything. We couldn't, like as a family, we couldn't go out, or, you couldn't go out on a date to even spend time with each other, get away from work. It was literally like, I went back to work in August, and then he worked the entire time, but everything was shut down. So there was no time like for just to like detox from your everyday life, like work, go to sleep, kids, So now that things are kind of like getting back to normal, it does help, but we're working on it.
That's awesome.
And what about you?
Yeah, actually, when I got home, he was already listening to it. Like, he was like, oh, do you want to sit down? Shall you listen to it? And I was like, kind of, yeah, because I had like a blackout moment. Like, I don't even know what we talked about, and I'm trying, so it would be nice to remember, and as I'm listening, I'm like, okay, but same as you said, I started getting messages, and what was interesting to me was kind of like the spectrum of where the messages were coming from, and people, I'm like, oh, wow, okay. I mean, very kind comments, some kind of like, but I don't understand. And I'm like, well, what don't you understand? And so we went down that rabbit hole, and so it helped with kind of self-reflection too, because it's, okay, I said this, or I made this comment, but then what is the core to that, and so it was very, to me, it was super helpful, because it was like, that's why I might feel like that, or that's why I said that, or wow, Ram, did you know this? And so it was, I appreciate it. I really think that this is just a really great avenue for people to.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of real positive feedback too from people all over the place too. And people like just other female officers from different areas that also do volunteer work. And so they were like, oh, like I do this, and it's kind of like my Make-A-Wish, and so it was kind of neat too to see all that.
Okay, so I have a question. I watched your video or your episodes, right? I watched my own episode, but what I found that we do have a lot of similarities, and one being alpha, like just being that type A personality that like, I'm assertive. We're gonna just go in. This is what we're doing. You don't know how to do something. I'm gonna help you figure out how to do it, because you know. And so do you guys find that it's kind of hard because we all work in a very male dominant profession,
Yeah,
like whether
right,
it's in the
definitely,
gym,
yeah,
if it's at
yeah.
the department, like it's male dominant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you find that being an alpha personality, that you're treated kind of like people don't know how to treat you? They're like, oh, well, either she's this or she's that, you know?
Yeah.
So
I get like, oh, she's a bitch. Or she seems like she's a bitch. But I'm not. Like, once you get to know me, everyone's like, oh my God, you're like really sweet. You're really, and I'm very caring. Me, like, I always put everyone else's needs before myself, which is probably not the best trait because as a mom, like, you need to always be, you know, you need to be good for yourself and for your family. But being very, like, especially in the position that I am now, where I work, like, I've had to become a little bit harder on everyone around me because, you know, you have that position, and like you say, like, it's very male dominant. I mean, and you guys in your positions the same way too. But I've noticed that, like, I do recently in the last like couple months, I butt heads more with Luna because I'm like, I ain't taking no shit anymore. Like, I'm done. Like, I've been working on me, which is great, and then I'm a little bit more feisty, you know, or like, I don't care if what I'm gonna say is gonna hurt your feelings, which is good because I always used to be like, tail between my legs, like, no, like, I can't speak up, like, I don't want to say too much, or I don't want to upset anybody. But I'm at the point now where it's just like, it is what it is. Like, I have to do what I have to do, what I have to, you know, put myself out there. But I do get that a lot, like the whole, it's crazy. Yeah.
I think it's more empowerment for us too. Like, so being a type A personality helps us to survive in the environment we're in. But yeah, I get like, oh, you're a control freak. You have to have it your way.
All the
And
time.
it's not that I have a way of doing things and I just want it to go smoothly, you know? And I'm sorry for those if I seem to be controlling, but you know, I'm just trying to make things work out.
Yeah, it's not like you mean it like you're trying to be like this like overpowering person. You just, that's your personality, and you, like you say, you have things, you want them done a certain way so that way it goes smoothly. And
but I think it's also being like a problem solver. Like, it's already ingrained in you to solve that. Oh, I see an issue, I'm gonna fix it. Or
Yeah.
oh, you wanted to fix, let's work together. But if people aren't, I feel like they kind of look at us like, oh, you're intimidating.
Yes.
Oh, you're unapproachable.
Right.
Yes.
I was approachable enough for you to tell me I was unapproachable.
Yeah.
So either help me or sit back and let me
Absolutely.
finish doing what I'm
Yeah.
doing, you know?
I have a really bad habit of not waiting on people. Like, if I ask someone to do something, whether it's at home or at work, it's like, and if it doesn't get done when I ask,
do it yourself.
I'm gonna do it myself. I'm not gonna wait on you. I don't care if it's gonna take me 5 hours to do it, but I'm gonna get it done rather than wait a day or two for you to get done. Like, that's something that I've definitely started doing. Like, I'm just not gonna wait anymore. Yeah.
But I find that, like, at the prison, you know, female officers, a lot of us have similar personalities as far as that goes, like the more assertive personality. And that's what helps us survive out there, you know. If we don't have that, then we get walked over or
Yeah,
manipulated, you know, and we can't have that, so.
Yeah. And so how does that translate into like dealing with your kids?
Well,
I don't know. I mean, with my kids, I don't know. Like, example, I'm on a very tight schedule at home. Like,
yeah.
we all have a bedtime, and if you're not in bed by then, guess who's screaming? I am, because it's like bedtime at this time, get up at this time. Everything is like the same every day, so they're used to what time they go to bed, they're used to what time they get up, they're used to what time they get off their devices. Like, it's very structured at home, and I've always been like that. But the first thing they throw back at me is, well, so and so doesn't have to go to bed until 11 o'clock at night. Well, good for them, but you're not that
I'm not
person.
so and so's mom.
Exactly.
Like, I don't care.
Yeah. And I get up very early, so the last thing I want to do is be chasing your ass around the house at 11 o'clock at night trying to get you in bed. And same thing, showers, 7 o'clock, get in the shower. Like, 7:30, you're going to come downstairs and you're going to eat. And then in the morning, I wake them up. Same time. It's just literally a structure. And if it's like outside that line, I'm cracking the whip. And just like this morning, one of my kids was like, "You've told me to get up 6 times already." I said, "Yeah, it's 6:45. You should have been up 15 minutes ago. I'm not going to leave you alone till you get up." So it's just like very structured. So yeah, same thing.
We have to have a structured schedule too, because we have a lot going on too. Because I'm a single mom, so at home I have my 2 kids, and I'm gone in the morning early, so I have to make sure that they know what's to be expected while I'm gone, that they I'm calling them from work, hey, are you done with your online school? Okay, get ready to go on the bus, and then so they know what's expected. And then we have baseball practice and youth group, and we have, Make-A-Wish projects and things like that going on. So everything's got to be scheduled ahead of time. So.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you once. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to talk to you again, understand, if I have to drive home from the institution, it's not going to be a good day.
Mm-hmm.
If I've sat in classrooms, so my children,
Yeah.
whether they're my children or my swimmer children, because I'll have parents. I had sign-ups last weekend, and I had a dad say, we just need Coach Heather in our life all year round. I said, I'm going to be selling fat heads with, on my face, and for an extra $20, I'll say whatever you want, like a Build-A-Bear. And you want me to yell at your kids?
Yeah.
I'll do that. And he's like, from May until August? Oh my goodness. And then September hits, and it's like, Coach Heather's gone, and then it's like, want, want, want. And so the kids will always ask my kids, is your mom like that at home all the time? They're like, yeah, this is mild. Like, this is so mild. You're lucky because we're in public. And I'm like, it's not that bad. Calm down. It's not that bad. But no, I get it. It's just how we are, ladies.
Yeah.
It's that girl power.
I don't think it's a bad trait to have, to be honest. I mean, I'd rather be like that than having people walk all over you all the time.
Yeah.
For sure. Or your kids walk all over you. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sometimes kids will be like, but we're not in prison. I go, well, yeah, and I intend to keep you out of prison, so you better just listen to what I have to say.
Yes, and that's a very valid point, because I think people right now are it's so easy to say, I don't want to hurt your feelings, or I don't want to upset you because we're going through a pandemic and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but then you have little Billy Badass who's not doing what he's supposed to do. And you're like, whose kid is that? And if you had that consistency, and that it's not anything more than caring and that nurturing and that love to give that structure, because anything in life is going to be structured. It's not.
Yeah, so sometimes I do have to take the time out and just like have my one-on-ones with each of them and be like, I love you no matter what. No matter what happens, I'm going to be there for you. I love you. But there's expectations, and things that are not acceptable. So just know that I'm going to call you out on those.
So what do you think is your favorite tradition or thing that you guys do with your kids? Like me, I go on dates with each one of my kids, right? And so does my husband, but by ourselves. And so just to kind of have that one-on-one time. But for the girls, I think it's important for them to know how a man should treat them, right? So when they're with their dad, like, they know, and obviously they're watching the way he treats me, but then how he treats them, opening doors, closing dours, doing those things.
Yes.
And for my son, I think it's important for him to, one, be able to have a conversation with anybody, but two, for him to know, hey, when I'm open my door, close my door, those same things, because I do not want a phone call from someone's parent like, your son, he honked from the street.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, he did not honk from the street.
I'm trying with my son right now to be like, okay, Papi, you got to get off the couch and you got to help me unload the groceries. You got to open the door for me. And he'll be like, sorry, Luna. He'll be like, but Daddy doesn't do it. And like, there's times where like my husband is on the couch and he doesn't want to get up and help me.
I love that you gave the disclaimer.
Disclaimer. But it's like I try to tell him, like, these are the things that you need to do as a man when you get older, because a woman wants a man to open the door. A woman wants, like my son will like just grab my hand and like just smell it and kiss it, and I'm like, you need to carry that with you for the rest of your life. Like, you need to tell, like, and he'll call me, Mama, I just wanted to see your face. Like, I just wanted to see your face, and it's the sweetest thing ever. And I'm like, I hope you carry that with you like forever, because when you get older, the whoever you're with, they're gonna want that. Like, who doesn't want to be told they're beautiful every day, or like to have the door open for you? I thank God that my oldest daughter found a great man, does all of that, like doesn't let her get into the car unless he opens the door for her. And that's like they don't raise kids like that anymore. So I'm trying to do that with my son, but it's hard. It is hard.
Yeah. Well, in my house we don't have the the male role model, but with my son, he's very conscious of like females, because he has a sister there and then me, so he knows how he's supposed to treat us. And if he starts getting mouthy with the sister, I have to check him and be
Yeah.
like, look, you know, I know she's your sister. I know you're upset with her, but you don't treat females this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not going to turn into that guy. So you need to check yourself.
Yeah, that's a big deal too, because my son is 9 and then my Emma is 11, and like my son's always trying to hit the 11-year-olds, and I'm like, you don't do that, you don't hit girls, but she hit me first. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it's just, as you get older, you realize if you touch a woman, like, you're gonna go to jail. So,
Right.
Yeah, it's like, so
That's a problem.
And they're little, you know, they don't know. They're just beating each other up because they're running around at night and they're hyper, and then one gets too crazy with the other one, and then it turns into like a little mini fist fight. But it's like just so important, I think. And then I think for me, like, there's that fine line, like with this pandemic. I think, I don't know if you guys have experienced it, like with your kids, but I feel like it is like, I don't know the term. I'm like treading lightly here because it's a touchy subject, but I feel like with this pandemic, everyone has become so stuck to social media, like the kids, the adults, and I feel like there's this trend to feel sad, and it's cool to like feel sad or to feel depressed. And I know cool isn't the term, but I feel like more and more kids are like saying they're depressed or saying they're sad because all they're doing is watching these TikToks and these Instagram videos, and everyone's sad and depressed and
Or
like
different.
yes.
Yeah.
And and there's times where like I need to, you know, discipline my kids or punish them in a way, but then it's like I'm so scared that they're, you know, they're gonna hit this like sad or like depressed mode, and it's just like that fine line where everyone, I see it so much, like there's even hashtags about like horrible things about
Right.
like, you know, that these kids are doing, and it's like, it's cool. So I'm constantly having to keep an eye on my kids. There is a limit. So with social media, the kids can only get on from after school from 2:30 until 7 p.m. And then everything goes to our room at night because they're not allowed on it anymore or any less. Like, it's just overpowering. And I just feel like everything is just about like sadness and depression and like how I can be more sad than you, or like I need more help than you. And I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but there's times where I feel like my kids are just so low, and I don't know why, and I'm afraid to like punish them because I'm afraid they're just gonna, I don't know, not do anything bad, but like, you know, like where they just kind of act like they're more depressed because they're being punished. But it's like, where do you, like, I don't understand where you like actually draw that line where you know, some kids are just out there and they're just doing these things, and they're using these hashtags that are just awful, you know, and it always has to do with like depression or like anxiety. Or so I don't know if you guys have experienced any of that with anybody, you know, but I mean, with my kids, I'm always constantly watching what they're doing on social media because I just feel like there's so many kids out there, if you punish them, they're just going to go, not my kids, but like
Right.
there's kids out there where you punish them and they're just going to, okay, well, I'm just going to kill myself or whatever because I've been punished. It's like you can't even do that anymore these days. I think it's awful. So that's one thing that social media is just like.
It glamorizes
Yeah,
it.
it does. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just awful, I think. So I don't know. I think that as a mom, like I'm always having to like be very careful and watching what they're doing and what they're posting, and you know, because it's horrible. Like everything out there is just like right at their fingertips, literally.
Yeah, as soon as I could, you know, I started putting the kids back into activities.
Mhm.
I made them go to in-person school.
Yeah,
I know some people
mine
don't
too.
feel like, you know,
Mhm.
they should, but
Yeah.
I just needed them to get out of the house.
Mhm.
I needed them to get out of their rooms because they were turning into just hermits in their rooms.
Yeah.
Just like you said, well, they don't really have a lot of social media, but they have the TikTok.
Yeah, the TikToks.
And on video games,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh my God,
and stuff.
yes.
So
Mhm.
I just needed them out
Right.
in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember we did last year, my son's birthday's in June, so last year we did the drive-through parade or whatever, and one of his friends got off the car to just say hi to him, and they didn't even know how to talk to each other anymore. They didn't know how to communicate because by that time they had already been locked down for, I don't know, a few months, and they had lost
It's like
it.
that awkward, like, hi.
Yeah, like they didn't know each other anymore. So, you know, my son's playing baseball. They're going to in-person school at least a couple hours a day, and my daughter's in youth group, and I'm just, okay, so we're taking a risk with COVID, but, you know, just be very careful, and we'll see what happens.
As long as you take the proper precautions
Yeah.
and because at the end of the day, the welfare and mental health of your children and yourself and your, you know, just your family is most important. And I think we only took 2 months off when the pandemic started, and then we're like, oh, California shut down, cool, we're going to Arizona, like, and we'll do
Yeah.
sports, because
Yeah.
the kids it was one of those where you're looking at them and it's like, something's not right, I don't know what's not right, and we're talking, and it seems to be okay, but it was just that sparkle that
Yeah.
was missing,
Yeah.
you know. And the minute we crossed state lines, it was like, and I'm back, and it was better. So I do think that when they're stuck at home, and then let's just be very honest, for how long did we do online school? We work. I'm not a teacher by any means. I can't stay home. I have to go to work, and then, you know, and the kids are sitting staring at a screen, and then your social media is on a screen, and then if they want to play a video game, it's on a screen, and you have these kids who, by the time you get home, they're screened out, and but then they don't want to go outside because it's like, well, I'm tired, because it made them lethargic from whatever they've been doing, and they're overstimulated. And what happens when you go up on that high of overstimulation? You go low, and that's what, you know, and so yeah, but we do have the parent lock. Like, once they're actually allotted X amount of time on their phone, and then it just shuts them out.
Okay.
So they're like, can I have more time? Put the code in. No, go outside, go have fun.
Yeah.
I'll take the cords from the gaming systems.
That's
Those
what I've done
those
too.
go to work with me.
Yeah.
Every day. Like,
The
oh,
HDMI cords.
yep,
hook
like,
them.
you don't need,
Wow.
you're fine. Mom, but it was a half day. Cool.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do, but you're not going to be playing on your gaming console.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Well, tying into that, you know, earlier you had said that with the COVID lockdown and everything, that you guys hadn't gone anywhere and stuff. And I'm sure, just from law enforcement perspective, from the prison, you know, I'm sure that was hard on your husbands also, you know, and you too, because you were at work too. And did you work from home for a while? Or
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
I was there.
So
I
yeah,
was
you know,
there.
us being there and stuff, and it's just stressful already.
Yeah.
And then there's no outlet. You
Yeah.
know, the
Yeah,
gyms
exactly.
were closed, so a lot of the guys go to gyms. A lot of the girls go to gyms.
Yeah.
No date nights, no family time, no, you know, nothing. So it was really hard for a lot of us for our mental health. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I tried to get the kids out. We always do, we go to the beach every summer. So every like 2 weeks we'd go to the beach. So we still did that during COVID, but that was all we did. And then, you know, it just, obviously it gets cools off and then we're stuck back at home or whatever. But perfect example, you know, we went to a birthday party last week and my 2 kids just sat on the couch and didn't know how to interact with anybody. And I'm like, you guys go play. And I didn't let them take their little iPods that they have. I'm like, you're not taking them with you because we're going to, like, around other people, and like, you don't need to be on your device. And for about an hour and a half, they just moped, and they were, like, hanging on me. And I'm like, just get off of me. Like, go play. And they wouldn't go play. And then finally, after, like, 2 hours being there, they start running around and having fun. And then by that time, we had to leave, and they were throwing a fit because they didn't want to leave. But I mean, literally, they just didn't want to interact with anybody at all. Like, and that's really sad because, I mean, as kids, you just go get in the mix and you start talking to everybody and you have fun. But no, they were not having it. So my son is like really into like the one of the video games where you wear the headpiece. I can't think of what it's called, but so he loves to play that. We limit him an hour, you know, just 1 hour a day, and he ends up being in on 3 hours, and then he'll get a migraine, and it's just a big mess. So if we're not home, I mean, we're both working.
Right.
You know, if my husband's doing overtime, I work until 6. So if we're not home, I mean, there really isn't any structure.
monitor.
Yeah, there's nothing to monitor. You know, so everyone's doing their own thing in their own room, and we're at work. So yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, I'm thankful I have my parents, so they'll go and check on the kids. You know, they only live a couple blocks from me.
Yeah.
So if I really need somebody to check on them, hey, can you just go check up on them? And they're there if they miss the bus or whatever. So they help me out that way.
So what do you guys think was like the biggest kind of like shift in energy from the pandemic, like the morale booster, the thing that you like, you know what, it was, you know, because let's be honest, waking up to go to prison every day, you're not like, woo, I'm going to prison, you know, and you're going, and it's the same, regardless of where you're doing it, it's the same monotonous work, you know, and at the gym, you kind of have the same routine, the same everything, and so when it's like, wake up, get ready for work, do my job, go home, sit at home and repeat.
Yes.
It's like Groundhog's Day, that horrible Bill Murray movie, like over and over again. That's what it is. So what did you guys, like, what was your saving grace for?
I think for us, the first time was our first outing when we went to Arizona. We went to Yuma for my daughter's birthday back in March. And we went to the movies. It was the first time we had been to the movies, you know? And they weren't showing any new movies. We saw The Goonies, which we've seen 100 times. But just to be in a movie theater, you know, and have popcorn at the movies and to watch it on a big screen, it was a big deal. Yeah, they were just so excited about just something so simple.
To be out of your house.
Right, to be out of the house.
I think for me it was going to the baseball game for the first time in over a year. Like, baseball's huge in our family. And we went on Easter. We didn't even know it was Easter. I felt so bad. We bought tickets to go, and then we took our two oldest at the time.
Part of COVID too. You
forget everything. Like, and so we went, and I just remember standing there in the sun and like hearing the national anthem, and I just like cried. I'm like, God, I miss this so much. And then you could hear just everybody cheering, just the smells of the food, and like the atmosphere, just the roar of the audience was just insane. And for me, that was like, oh my God, I've missed this. Like, this feels like somewhat normal, you know?
Right.
I didn't even care about the mask. I didn't care about any of that. Like, it was just that we were out, you know, like doing something normal, you know? So we've been going like every 2 weeks to a baseball game. It's either like me and my husband, or like the kids will go. Like, the kids went these last 2 weekends with my husband. So it's just something, just getting them out and feeling a little bit more normal. We haven't been to the movies yet. We missed the movies.
So how's the seating like in both because of the social distancing?
Yeah, so there is like COVID section. So if you had your COVID shot, or if you had a test like in the last like 48 hours, you can sit like in a section all together and you're like all cramped in. But if you have not, then you buy in pods. So it's like groups of like 2 or 4, and then there's a space, and then it's another. Yeah, so I mean, and that's what we've been doing, just like the social distancing and pods.
The movie theater is the same thing. You get your seat beforehand, and they seat you like 2 or 3, and then you have spaces in between and stuff. So,
wow, I haven't been to either. So obviously, I'm living in a very big bubble right now. But yeah, no.
And yours?
You know what? I think it's like little mixtures of different things. Like going to swim meets, obviously we've been doing that a lot, but doing like different things with the kids that's important to them. Like my oldest, she loves to bake, and so she wanted to bake and go deliver them to her friends. Like, okay, cool. One night it was 4 hours. I was like, this is bullcrap. Like, this was crazy. And I was like, and who knew you baked that much? But it made her happy, and there was a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
You know, my son, he's like, Mom, I just want to start running. Like, that's what I want to do. Okay. I thought you hated to run. No, that's what I want to do. So we've gone on little like runs and things like that, and on the bike. And then my youngest, she started to, you know, be able to start cheering again and starting to do other things. So getting to watch her do what she loves to do, for me, it's simple. Like, I just want to see them happy. And Ram started running, and okay, so let me tell you this, guys. I got these cool shoes. They talk to me when I'm running. Like, they tell me I'm awesome. They tell me when I'm, like, yes, they're great. So they're Under Armour, Hoven, I think. But they're cool because you hook it up to your phone, and it breaks down your stride. It breaks down everything you're doing, and you can set, like, I want to run a mile at this pace or whatever. Tells you. Then they'll be like, put this music on with this beat per minute, and you'll, like, get it. So anyways, I know you don't care, but I'm like so happy.
I've never been a runner.
So no, right, and so he got a pair. He got high tops because he was put into some cool kid club that I wasn't allowed to because I'm not a boy. So he's part of this cool kid club, and he got high top shoes that they bought him. Then I was like, oh, those are so cool, and they talk to you.
That's crazy.
That's nice. So then I got a pair for my birthday, and I was like, cool. But mine are low top. I don't like high top. And then he's like, well, yours are kind of cooler. So, of course, to match me, he needed low top. So he got low top. So then our son got low tops. But that's besides the point. These are the coolest things because if you are not a runner, you become a runner.
Oh my gosh,
they're
that's really
amazing.
cool.
Just to hear it talk to you.
I mean, I lead a very simple life. Yes, no, it's really, it does. It tells you.
Yeah.
It'll be, I believe my last running coach was Lisa. And Lisa was in my ear, and she'd be like, you need to speed up, you need to slow down, your cadence is too slow, blah, 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 blah. And it gets you to where you need to be, so then you have that empowerment, like accomplishment, when you make that 3 miles in, you know, whatever your goal is, or the 5 miles, or the 10 miles.
I needed those on my hike.
Yes.
I need my hike shoes to have that.
And you can even like do, okay, here's what stride I want to do, or here's where I want to be, or I'm not really feeling it today, so Lisa, you're getting shut off. And that's what, you know, and so then it just breaks down all of your statistics, but it doesn't talk to you. So you can pick and choose what you want.
I've tried running apps, and I have never been able to run. Like, ever.
Luna,
ever.
buy her these shoes.
Yeah, that ain't I used to try to run with my husband, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I would give up. I've never in my life been able to run. Ever. We tried everything. Tried outside, tried inside, like on the treadmill. I just lift.
Right.
I could do the treadmill. Like, I just need good music, but outside is rough on my lungs. Obviously, you have to learn how to breathe a certain way or whatever. I've never been able to do it.
And it'll tell you, shoulders back, you're breathing, I don't know what it does. It's amazing. They're just, I love them.
That sounds awesome.
I like put them on, and you can do your dog walking, your bike ride, whatever you're doing, you can pick what you're doing, and it will keep track of you.
That's
It's really neat. Everyone needs a pair.
Yeah.
That was my happy out of the pandemic, if we're being honest, for me, like selfishly. My kids were like, great, but selfishly, the shoes. The shoes were, because they just kind of gave me that. And then I did that 75 hard.
Oh, okay.
That was so
I
fun.
see a lot of people doing that.
That was so fun. And the books I read, like, my favorite one was Breaking Through Bitch.
Really?
That was the best one, because it breaks, it helps you understand, like, hey, this is your personality, but when you're in a male dominant business or environment, you start to take on traits that of a male, and you're not hired to be a man. There's enough men. Use what makes you different to make you a better person, a better employee, and utilize your femininity to make it work for you. Because if they want a man, guess what? They're going to hire a man. You don't need to raise the bar and be like, because it gives you that example. A guy can say something, a male can say something, and it's like, oh man, he's awesome. A girl says, like, she's a straight bitch.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with her. But what do? We kind of compare ourselves, and it tells you, like, don't compare yourself. Be the authentic you.
Right.
And just take that ownership. And
I think female officers should read that book. You know,
I do.
That is something that's so important, because we do that. I've worked at the department now. It'll be 25 years, July. So all this time, you know, there's times I've gone through where I've had to check myself, because I will start to take that male role, you know, and start talking like them or acting like them. And I have to just pull myself back. No, I got to remember that I have to keep my femininity. I have to, you know, be myself. And so now after all these years, I've gotten it down like my way, you know, how I like to be. But I think it's really important that female officers of any law enforcement agency, that would be a good book for them to read.
You know what I think would be really good for just the department? I think having, you know how they do orientation for the inmates? Orientation for spouses. No, I'm being serious.
No, that's a good,
because
I doubt they'd ever do it, but yeah, then no, that is good.
I just think it would be good, because it kind of allows you, one, how many, like, you know, young mothers, their husbands go in, their third watch, their first watch, whatever.
Oh my God.
Like, guess what?
Yeah.
Hey, play date, because it gives you a list of people who maybe are in the same area, and a breakdown of things to expect. Like, you can't expect everything when your significant other is in the department, but there are certain things, you know, be prepared for this, or how do you, what is EAP? What is this process? What is, if I need to get a hold of my significant other, how do I do that?
Yeah.
You know,
it
things
was
like
years
that.
before I knew that I could call the prison and, like, you know, have them give a message to Luna. Like, it was years before I knew. I remember, so when we met, I think he was in the department for only a year when we met. Right away, like, we wanted to have a baby, we got pregnant, and he was on first watch, which is 10 p.m. to 6. Oh my God, and I remember being so pregnant, and I would just, like, cry, don't go in, stay with me. Like, I would always cry and, like, literally chase him out of the house. And I mean, I didn't know what to expect, and I was always worried that, like, something bad was going to happen. He's like, babe, nothing's going to happen at night. Like, everyone's asleep, like, whatever. But I didn't know the rotation, and he had to do, you know, each, like, he was literally just barely getting in, and I mean, yeah, you don't know what to expect. That would be great. Or have at least other spouses to connect with and be like, hey,
Maybe
what am
not
I
it-
supposed to expect, you know?
Maybe now that Zoom's so big, you know, they
Yeah.
can start Zoom groups.
That would
you
be
know?
neat. Like just a little support group, just have that conversations because yeah, you don't really know. You don't know. And then it's like, am I dumb if I ask? Or I don't want to burden him with that question. And
But you know,
he's-
even new officers don't know all that information, how to even pass it on to their
Yeah.
spouses or their significant others.
or
you
if
know?
they want to pass it on, like, no,
That's another story.
you can't call. You just can't call. It's not a thing. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I think that'd be kind of neat, you know, just to have that outlet, just to have that, because you don't unless you go to a function, and then you have to hope you like someone who's at that function. So you know, because it's like they already have their friends, and you're sitting there like, let me scan the
that's me
room. Let me
sometimes.
see.
Yeah, like when we've gone to like functions, I'm like just kind of there. Everyone has like their cliques, and I just go and I'm just like
So you know what's funny is
like
that
I hate it sometimes. It's almost like I don't even want to go because I get the looks and I don't
Yeah.
know.
well, I used to be
It's not
married to an
worth it.
officer also, and I was the wife of an officer, but I was also an officer.
Mhm.
So we would go to like barbecues or whatever with the other
Yeah.
officers, his friends, right? But they were my friends too. So now I can't hang out with them anymore, right? I'm at this barbecue. I got to go hang out with the wives. Well, I don't know them.
Yeah.
And they're looking at me like that.
Yes.
Like, who are you?
Yeah.
Why are you here? Why do you work with my husband? What do you guys talk about?
I totally feel that.
you know?
Mhm.
You just get those daggers thrown at you, and I just want to go out and have a beer with the guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then
But
it's
I
like, well, why
can't.
are you going over there?
Right.
What? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So don't be those wives, okay?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I'm a very talkative person. I like to get in there, like meet new people, but I'll just be there, and then you know, everyone has their cliques. It's almost like they've always hung out, and then here we go to like this new function for the first time, and I don't know anybody, but Luna knows like all the guys, and I'm just sitting there like I just want to go hang out with my husband, but then obviously be like, why are you hanging out with all the guys? Like,
Right.
why are you over there with them?
Yeah.
And it's like, I get along with men a lot better than I get along with women. I don't know why, but I mean, if they're not going to talk to me, just kind of sit there.
Again, that goes back to our type of personality.
Yes, yes.
Well, and doesn't help. I have RBF, so you know that resting bitch face.
Mhm.
So like people are like, oh, but
See, I didn't get that from you.
I
because you
get
said
that.
I was pretty.
I know,
You said
but
I was
didn't-
pretty, so I was like, oh.
When I saw you, I was like, you are so pretty. And then, like, she smiled, and it was like icebreaker, you know?
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
get that either. I didn't get that vibe from you.
But-
Because we're all type A's.
Yeah.
We
But I
know our
what you mean,
kind,
because
right?
I always get it, like, oh my God, like, you looked like you were a bitch when I first met you, but blah. It's since high school. So even when I met my husband, I introduced him to all my friends, which were all guys. I hung out with nothing but guys. And he was cool with it, so we all became a group of friends. But I mean, it just doesn't click.
Are you from here?
Yeah.
And your husband is also?
My husband's from Calapat. I'm from Imperial.
Oh, okay. We're
Mhm.
still 2 cities away.
Yeah.
So did you know some of the same people already?
No, I met him on MySpace.
Oh, I remember your episode talking
Yes,
about
so I met
that.
him on MySpace. We knew completely different people, like opposite ends of the freaking county, basically. So, but when we met him, like I just introduced him to all my friends, and I mean, we just all clicked.
She was like, I was part of the cool kid club. He
Yeah,
wasn't.
he wasn't, so I brought him over.
in.
Are you from here, Heather?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we moved here when I was little. So yeah.
Okay. And your husband also?
Yeah, he's from here, born and raised. So.
And then
he's-
you guys didn't know each other either until,
No.
yeah.
Nope. No, it was fate.
Because I'm not from here, so I moved here about 8 years ago, but I just look at it like everybody knows each other here.
Or they're
'Cause it's-
related.
Or they're related.
Yeah.
Pretty
or,
much.
or they know somebody who's related to
Yeah.
somebody,
Mhm.
or they're like a fifth cousin, so
Yeah.
they're like related.
Pretty much.
So you
Yeah.
just don't say anything about anybody?
No, you
because
don't.
if you do, it's like you said, but like, oh, I didn't, I'm sorry. Never mind.
Like, yeah, you don't say shit about anybody. You love everyone around here because everybody knows somebody. It's always, yeah, that's the case. Which, like, it sucks because, I mean, you just gotta always, like, tiptoe around everything. You literally can't say anything. So, yeah. But, yeah, I've lived here my whole life. So, yeah.
No, I'll say it. I'll own it. I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just say it, and then we know where we're at. Then, oh yeah, we're good. And then I
Yeah.
walk over, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna let you know. But my approach is, what you give me, that's what I'm gonna give you. So when people are like, oh well, look at the energy you're coming at me with. When you want to come
Yeah.
meet me, I'm good. But don't be disrespectful. or treat me dismissively and then expect me to come like with open arms, like, oh my gosh, this is great. No, if I'm gonna respect you, it's earned. It's not given, it's earned.
Yeah.
And I will give, and I will be, the most loyal friend person in the world, but lie or disrespect my husband or my family, and you have nothing we will pass like you never existed to me.
Yeah,
like,
in that aspect, I get that 100%. But I think, like, for me, like, because of where I work, I feel like
you have to be nice.
I have to be nice to fucking everyone. I can't even get road rage anymore. Because if I honk and
Like,
flip somebody off, and be like, oh my god, that's the manager at 413. She just flipped me off. I can't even have like I gotta go out of the city or out of the whole county to have like, a wild night out, because oh my god, Summer was dancing on tables and all this stuff, and it's just like everybody know, you know what I mean? So I feel like in that aspect, like I have to, just be assertive like all the time. But yeah, if you mess with my family, like, I mean, just working at the prison, like, there's been incidences where there's drama, and I'm like, do not fucking come at me, because I will hurt you. Like, you do not, like, don't even mess with my family, don't say things about my husband unless, like, for a fact it's true. And I've tried to gone after people, but my husband won't let me, so it is what it is. But let me find them on my own, and I will definitely. We were just talking about that too.
I'm non-confrontational, which is surprising, right? Because I work at the prison.
Right.
So when I have to be, I am. But outside of work, and I don't really talk to a lot of females either. Like,
right.
They're intimidating to me. Like, I guess because I feel like I don't belong.
But you do belong. You're part of our cool kid club. You're part of our club right now.
But I don't feel like, I always feel like, oh, they don't work at the prison, so, they're just going to look at me and not like me because I work at the prison, and they're not going to understand me. And so I just stay away, and I just mind my own business. So it really takes a lot for me to start talking to somebody and get to know them and stuff. But as far as confrontation, I'm not confrontational.
Yeah, I'm not confrontational when it's like, it's somebody like close to me that I'm like working with, or that like I know, but if it's comes out as like disrespect, or like you're disrespecting my kids, or you're talking shit about my kids, or anyone in my family, yes, I will cut heads. Like, that's
so when I have to be.
Yeah, definitely. And like, as far as my like girlfriends, I can count on one hand how many girlfriends I actually have that I completely trust and that I hang out with on a monthly basis. But than that, like, I don't need new friends. Like, I don't need to like go out there and find new people, because I think my personality is very strong, and maybe it does come off intimidating, or I come off as a bitch. I don't know, but I mean, that's definitely one thing. So that's why, like, I love to go to functions with my husband before COVID. Like, I loved it because I enjoyed watching him have a good time. But then I was there, like, by myself, like, and it really sucks. But I really enjoy watching him let loose, because he doesn't. So for me, I will never forget. I even have this on my highlights on my Instagram. Me and my husband went out. He got like this big suite at the baseball game. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. And afterwards we went across the street to this bar. It was called Moonshine Flats. He let loose like no other, and I swear to you, I just sat back and I watched him, and I was like, this is how I want to see my husband all the time. Like, he freaking took his shirt off, and he was like doing this, and he was dancing, and I was recording it, and I'm like, this is like my highlight moment, because every time I see him, he's either grumpy, or he's tired, or he's overworked, because let's face it, like, a lot of you guys, you work long hours, or you take the overtime, or after you come home from the prison, like, I don't know what that life is like, but when my husband comes home and he doesn't release it, he doesn't talk about it, I'm sure he's freaking mentally drained, but I don't know. So to see him like connect with friends, or like just let loose like that to me is worth so much. Like, you cannot put a price on that, and it doesn't happen very often. So when it does, it's just like, oh my god, like, this is beautiful. Like, I just like live in that moment, and I watch it all the time because it just makes me happy, So hopefully, like, things are slowly getting back to normal, and things are like starting to go. And I miss him, like, when we do the cornhole tournaments. Perfect example. He loved that. He had a blast, but most of the time I was sitting there by myself, and that's okay. Like, I'll bring my kids with me, and I'll sneak in my alcohol, and I'll just sit there and drink and watch, and you know what I mean? And he has a good time, and that's what matters. And, but yeah, I really enjoy that for him, and I'll go along to support, but I mean, I think sometimes he'll kind of notice, like, I'm there by myself, so he'll come and sit down with me, and then he'll get back up, but yeah, I get that a lot, so.
What if you guys like do alternating surprise dates? Like, that's what Ram and I do.
Yeah.
And so, like, we'll put, like, cards, right? So we don't know what the other one is.
Oh,
and
that's so
so
cool.
sometimes they suck. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm like, why would you want to do this? But
It's what he wants
it's
to do.
what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I'm quite certain sometimes he's like, why would you pick this? But it gives us an out, like, just to look into each other's, what's important to us.
Yeah.
But then also just, hey, I just really want to go apple picking. Like, that's
Yeah.
what, and he's like, you want to go apple pick? Really? That's what we're going to do? Please. That's all I want to do. So we'll do that, but then he'll be like, oh, I want to go look at shoes, or I want to go look at guns. I want to go do, gun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go do gun stuff.
Yeah.
But, and so what's been very interesting with it is, like, I've found certain things where I wouldn't have necessarily
tried
tried
or
it.
liked it, or known you would have liked it.
Yes. And so, and I watched a movie. That's how I got it. Like, I watched a movie and someone did, like, cards leading up to a big event, right? It was like a with their, whoever they were dating. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do that for his birthday one year. So I had cards for, like, I think it was like 30 days. It was crazy. It was so ridiculous.
That's so cool.
No, because then my coworker's like, it'd be horrible if you died.
Oh.
I was like, what? He's like, what if Ram finds him? Like, if something bad happens to you, he's going to be like, well, this sucks, and his birthday will be forever ruined.
Oh
and I was like, say an extra prayer every night until we get to, like, birthday.
Yeah.
But then he was like, that was kind of cool, because it was something different every day for him, for me, for just us as a family. And so then I was like, well, what if we tried this? And going back when we first, were married, there was a little bit of resentment there, right? Because I didn't work and he worked, and so I was like, why do I always have to ask to use money? Like, I don't like that, And so we talked about it, and he's like, well, I don't want you to feel like that. Like, I'm not your dad, obviously. So we did allowances, right? So I got $50, he got $50. You could not complain about what your $50 was for. So if I wanted $50 of chanclas and he wanted $50 of golf balls at the time, because I think he was golfing, then he could do it, I could do it, and no one could say anything. If I walked in with $250, those sandals from Old Navy back in the early 2000s, like, here's $50 worth, he'd be like, you are a special person. But he couldn't complain. And then as we've promoted and I started working and gone on, like, the allowances increased. But if we want to save it and do something together, we can. If we want to use it on ourselves, we can, whatever it is. But it was also being able to see, well, what did you bring home with yourself? Well, what did you bring home? Because I think you kind of lose a bit of that. Also, being together, but, like, going through your career and evolving through different chapters and different seasons and becoming the person that you're meant to be, that you're not who you were years ago. And so getting to see that, like, well, what's important to you this month, or what was important to you last month, and what does romance look like to you? What does it look like to me? And are we somewhere kind of, like, meeting in the middle, like,
we're
bridging that?
Totally opposite. I mean, I feel like when we met, we were, like, on the same level. Like, our first wedding anniversary, I don't know if it was our first or second, he had a giant, like, 8-foot bear delivered to my office with these huge bouquet of roses with a hand-painted vase. And all my coworkers were like, oh my God, he's going to have to live up to that level, like, every single year. That was the last time that happened.
I mean, it's an 8-foot bear, though.
Yeah, which I don't even know where it's at now. This was, like, years ago. But I think along the way, like, we just have completely, and I'm being completely honest, like, we've completely lost, like, where we were at or what we were. I mean, obviously, we still love each other.
Right.
But I just think somewhere along the line, we just got so wrapped up in everything else.
The world.
Yes.
Kids, family,
life, disagreements on certain aspects. Well, I'm not dealing with that, so you go do it by yourself. I'm not dealing with that, you do it by yourself. Like, for example, I love to travel. So before the pandemic, I was always gone. Like, I was going to Vegas, I was going to Miami, I was doing all this stuff. My husband loves more to stay home, and he's like, oh, babe, go with your friends. So it was always like a mutual agreement, but like I love to go out and like, you know, they talk about like the whole love language thing. Like my love language is like cuddle me and hold my hand.
So you're physical.
Yes,
You're physical.
very physical. Like, I love to like tell you like, oh my gosh, you're handsome. When I told you you're so pretty. When I see something, I call it. If my husband walks in the room and he's wearing his red shirt, I'm like, God, babe, you look so handsome in that. And I'll tell him. If it's 5 a.m., I'll tell him. But to me, that's how, you know, when you treat somebody like that's how you want to be treated. But that other person, their love language or whatever you want to call it, is just completely different. So we're just like two completely different people now than what we were when we first met. And I think we're trying to get back to that, to the, you know, you'll never go back to what you were before, but like you're just trying to like reconnect in a way. But I just feel like, you know, when sometimes it's just so far gone that you're like really trying and like you have work. And now my husband, he's helping me out at the gym. Like he's now one of my employees because I needed more help. I needed like, you know, a maintenance person that like, I mean, the man, there's nothing he cannot do. Like, and I mean that. He has saved my life like these past like month. I think he's been working there. I mean, he comes in and he fixes everything. So I think like between him working at the prison, like, hey, babe, I'm gonna stay overtime. So he stays overtime, and then he comes home and I'm asleep. He gets up and I'm asleep, and then we just kind of cross paths. On the weekends, we try to reconnect. So that's like, I tell people I'm married on the weekends. Like that's when we like actually like try to hang out and do something. But even then, like he asked me, I don't know, he wanted to do something this weekend, and I was like, I'm not gonna be here this weekend. Like I made plans like a few, and he's always like encouraging me, like, babe, go with your friends. Like you need to get out because I suffer from massive anxiety, like massive, and I don't like to really go anywhere and be around people. And I think with COVID, it's made it 10 times worse. Like I didn't leave my house when this whole COVID thing hit. I stopped working in March because we closed the gyms. I didn't leave at all. Like I did Instacart to bring me the food.
I love Instacart.
I do too. I paid
I've
the
never used
fee.
it.
Like I would not leave. I would not leave. I was so like just so paranoid, and he's just like, now, you know, it's like, you just go, you know, you need to get out. So, but I think like we're, you know, we're trying now that things are kind of slowly going back to normal. We're trying like, you know, we started doing date nights, which was really nice when things opened up outdoors. So we were doing that, and then now it's just kind of like it's hit or miss. Like either he's doing overtime, or we've been going to Yuma to get adjusted with a chiropractor every week. So it's like that's another thing to add like to our busy list. And it's not like it's enjoyable, but it's not, because it's like scheduled, like we have to, because we're doing it for our health type
Right.
of thing, you know. So it's just, I don't know, sometimes you just want like everything to slow down for
You
a
know,
bit.
there's a love language game, right?
No.
There's
I
a
know
card
there's
game.
like a book and stuff, right?
So did you read the book?
No, I think
Read
my
the book.
husband
Yeah.
did.
The book is
I think
amazing.
my husband did. I'm not sure. Lou,
And it works
correct me
on
if
your
I'm wrong,
kids,
but
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have one for your kids, one for your friends, one for,
Really?
like, there's love
For
languages
teenagers,
yes.
for children. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great book, and you can download the app, and you can like take the test and,
Uh-huh.
and figure out what he is, what you are.
Uh-huh.
But there's also a game, and the game is family questions, it's individual questions, it's sex and intimacy questions, and we'll do like, you know, we'll shuffle them, and we'll do like 3 cards a night. And I give my answer, Ram gives his answer, and it's, again, it's insightful because, you know what, 17 years of marriage,
Uh-huh.
you're always growing, and it's like, oh, I would never have thought that. Oh, that's interesting. Or our answers are the same.
Uh-huh.
So in certain aspects, you know, they are, in some they're different, but it's great because it just, again, it allows that look that
Yeah.
into his mind and into my mind for him, because I know he sometimes looks at me and I'm like, you must really love me because I'm like a hot mess express. Like I am just, and he's just like, I do. You know, but with those cards, we both read the book. He has the app on his phone, but I saw it on Amazon and I'm like, you know, let's just see what it is. And when I got it, I started flipping through and I thought it was one type of category, but it's, I think, like 4 or 5 categories.
Oh, no, my husband read that Women Are From Venus or Men Are From Mars book. That's an older book. He read that one, and he's I think it was that one, because I don't think he read the love language one.
The love
The
language
language
one,
is good.
I'll have Ram
It's
lend it to him.
5 love languages.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. Or there's that one analogy, I did it in one of the classes at church, and it likens women to spaghetti and men to waffles. And so, like, because think about it, like when we talk, we're like a noodle. And we can go through
Yeah.
the whole spaghetti plate, and we end up in 14 different conversations, but then at the end, it's like, oh, and there from our beginning.
Yeah.
And men are that waffle where they're like, fill each square with the syrup, and now we're moving on, and now we're moving on. And so sometimes I use that analogy at work, and people are like, don't say that. I'm not a waffle. I'm like, kinda. Like, we're going through whatever. But yeah, no, but it is a good book, and it is really beneficial if you get like the kid ones too, just for them to read it, and it allows the kids to kind of self-identify with how they feel love, and you'll find it's very rare that two people in a relationship will feel love the same way.
Yeah.
They're all different. It's a good one.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's a good one. So where are we at?
I don't know.
Oh, we're like over.
Our producer hasn't come in.
Wow, way to
Shut
go,
us down
Ariel.
Yes.
All right, so this was really fun, guys.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun.
I hope we didn't bore too many people.
I know,
with our-
sorry if we did.
our girl talk here. So before we end, we just want to give a shout out to all of the sponsors here. Thank you to Christina from DMA Real Estate for all of your real estate needs. 760-996-70. What is that?
7-0.
70.
Sounds like 90.
It's because his writing's like a serial killer. You can't read what he put.
We'd also like to thank Casbros, Homegrown Apparel, and My Therapy Tribe on Instagram with Dr. K. And Dr. K, we missed you tonight.
Yes,
You're
we
supposed
hope
to
we can
join
do
us.
this again with you.